This episode is brought to you by Ursa Minor Outfitters. Folks, I'm absolutely in love with my loon mug. It's handmade, it's an absolute piece of art. Whether it's at the office or at the house, people keep asking to check it out. If you're not a loon fan, they also have other beautiful mugs for wildlife fans of moose, bears, and eagles. They specialize in products highlighting the outdoors and local pride through quality design by local artists. They've even started expanding into items beyond mugs, like apparel, dog accessories, and soon candles and more. They also try to partner and highlight other small businesses, and in some cases, forego profits in lieu of charitable giving to help their community, such as the dog rescue. So check them out, UrsaMinorOutfitters.com, and enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And for our four-legged hiking partners, they also have a portable silicone dog bowl and also a sweet over-the-collar dog bandana. Go check them out, UrsaMinorOutfitters.com, and don't forget to enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. Welcome, everyone, to the Hikes and Mikes podcast. I'm your host, Ivan, and together we'll embark on a weekly journey connecting with extraordinary hikers from all corners of the U.S. and beyond. As the cool and colorful embrace of fall envelops the Northern Hemisphere, we've had the privilege of conversing with remarkable individuals throughout this season. Their experiences and adventures will leave you yearning to hit the trails. And in today's episode, we're heading back to the great state of New Hampshire to talk to our special guest, Shandi. Make sure to stay connected and follow her upcoming adventures on Instagram at Shandi_does_it_all. Shandi shares with us some of the unique hiking challenges New Hampshire has to offer, including several she's been able to complete or on the brink of completing. With the fall season in full swing, she also shares some great tips and advice for folks planning on visiting New Hampshire during the fall. Lastly, Shandi shares with us about her special four-legged hiking buddy, Sayje. Without further ado, let's jump into this episode with our guest, Shandi. Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Hikes and Mikes podcast. I have a really exciting guest with us today. She's from the Northeast. Her name is Shandi, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about her hiking experiences and her mount club that she's a part of, that she'll be sharing a little bit about what they do and how people can get involved with their activities and programs. Thank you, Shandi, for joining us on the podcast today. You know, we always like to start off with our guests by asking them how long they've been hiking for and how they got started.
Thank you for having me. So I've hiked off and on growing up and throughout being an adult, but wasn't really serious about it. And then, like most people, once COVID hit and I was stuck home with my kids and my husband, we decided we needed to do something besides being inside. So we started doing small local hikes. And then I decided I wanted to try to do some of the 4Ks. And I live next to Mount Kearsarge, or South, as some people call it. And I started hiking that a lot to condition myself to start doing some of the 4Ks. So really, I started probably right when COVID hit.
The beautiful White Mountains have an impressive list of 4,000 footers, 48 peaks. Is that something that you've been able to get involved in as you've grown in your hiking experiences?
Yes, I actually have completed the 48 peaks. We did them in just under 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, which was a really great experience. It was nice. We actually did it 2 years straight through. So I did it through all 4 seasons.
And I got to ask Shandi, because in one of your posts, I believe it's a custom piece maybe, but you got a really cool display board to kind of check off the peaks, right?
I did, yes. My sister-in-law got me a wooden, like almost puzzle display of each of the 48s. And as I did them, I put them on. And in the ones I did in winter, I actually painted white on them so you could see which ones I had done.
Right on. For folks that aren't too familiar, Shandi, with New Hampshire hiking, how would you describe the hiking scene in and around your neck of the woods?
In my town area, it's different than the 4Ks. I live in a small town where we don't have our own elementary school, but we have a lot of trail systems and there's a lot of woods. I live near ski mountains like Ragged, Sunapee, Kearsarge, and Cardigan. So there's a lot of small mountains we can hike, but you have to travel to do some of the 4Ks and whatnot. And the next town over, New London, has a huge conservation area. So they have a lot of trail systems that they maintain and that they have a huge web page for. So that's something a lot of people around here do. So it's a really nice thing to have.
And do you have any favorite local trails or destinations that you like to do every year or every season?
Yes, I obviously hike Kearsarge a lot since it's right next to me. That's on the 52 with a view list, and I can actually hike it from my house. And I've done all of the different trails for it. The longest trail is the Lincoln Trail, and if I do it from the beginning to the summit down to my house, it's almost 10 miles. Another hike I like to do is Butternut Pond, which is in our town. It's more of a walk around the pond, but you have to hike a half mile out to it. So it's really secluded and quiet. It's a really nice hike. And another one is Coles Pond in Enfield, which is a 2.5 mile hike. And it goes out to a gorgeous pond, like out in the middle of nowhere with a rock cropping that you can swim off of. And my kids really like to hike out to that and just, cool off in the middle of the summer for a swim and then hike back out. And then as far as destinations, anything that has a view, waterfalls are definitely a bonus. Some really nice waterfalls around here are Welcome Falls in Alexandria or Rainbow Falls in Plymouth. Those are short hikes, and then you have really beautiful waterfalls when you get to them.
I don't think I've heard of 52 with a view. Can you share a little bit about that list and what it incorporates?
Sure. So 52 with a view is a list a lot of people do that are 52 mountains under 4,000 feet that the summit has an amazing view. So they could be anywhere from 1,500 feet to 3,800 feet. But when you get to the summit, you have almost a 360-degree view, which for some might be a better list to do than a 4K, because some people might not be able to do some of the 4K. So the 52 with the view is incredible. And actually, one of the hikes I just did was Pine Mountain, and the hike literally was not even a mile up. And the view you could see for miles, and you could see the ponds, the lakes, and just very far off. So it was a really good view. And I actually met some older ladies that were probably in their 70s coming down, and they just said it was a great hike for them to do because it was really easy, but it had really nice views.
And how's the list going for you?
We have 9 left on the list.
Holy cow, right on. Now, we kind of talked about it before we started recording, but fall's right around the corner. This episode's going to come out in the fall. Do you think that you'll be able to finish those 9 before the end of the year, or are you kind of going to space them out and maybe finish it in 2024?
I'm hoping to finish it the end of the year. I think a few of the mountains I can combine together. So I think if I remember correctly, I probably only have 7 hikes left.
Okay.
So I should be able to finish it by the end of the year.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
And, talking about fall, the Northeast is known for its beautiful fall foliage. Do you have any favorite trails that you're looking forward to hiking once the leaves turn?
Yes, I do actually. Most summits that have an open view are good for fall, but one of my favorite ones, which I think are mostly everybody's, is the Franconia Ridge. That's a 2 or 3 mile open view of just amazing. And I love going up Falling Waters and down Old Bridle because the Falling Waters is a long, long waterfall, and it's just gorgeous to see. Another one is Kearsarge North up in North Conway. There's a new fire tower up there. A lot of people like to stay in overnight. Another one is Cardigan Mountain that has a nice view, and there's a tower that you can climb up at the top. One place a lot of people like to go is the Kangamangas Highway in Lincoln, and it's usually pretty swamped in the fall because it's a very high tourist trap, but you can drive along it for miles. It just has amazing views, but it's also going over the top mountains. So the speed limit is very slow. So you can kind of get sucked into a lot of traffic and get stuck there for a while, but it's very beautiful. So if you've never been there before, it's a good thing to check out.
Do you have any tips or advice for anyone that's interested in visiting during the fall season and maybe trying to get a hike in during the fall foliage?
Well, fall foliage is pretty crazy for New Hampshire because it's technically, I guess, our peak season, and that's where they make most of their money because a lot of leaf peepers and tourists come along. So I guess if you come to visit, keep in mind that the roads will be busy. So if you want to do a scenic drive, try to hit early in the morning or evening. You're going to get stuck in traffic. And if you want to hike, definitely hit the trailhead early. And I can't stress that enough because sometimes I've gotten to the trailhead at 7 a.m. and the lots have been full. And then you have to figure out, where you're going to park, or you might have to change your hiking itinerary for the day and hike somewhere else. And since fall is coming, the weather's also changing. So you definitely need to be prepared for any type of weather. So it could be sunny and warm at the trailhead, but then you get to the summit and it could be 40 degrees cooler. It could be windy. It could be socked in. It could be snowing, or it could be clear and totally fine. But you should always be prepared for any type of weather just to be on the safe side.
Oh, those are great tips, Shandi. Do you think or do you feel that weekdays are a little bit less busy, or because it's grown in popularity, I mean, every single day of the fall color seasons, busier than normal?
I think weekdays are probably easier to hike, but I also depends on if there's something going on, if there's a holiday, if it's a long weekend. So it would definitely depend on what's going on, but I've hiked anytime, and you definitely, like, Saturdays are definitely very busy. This holiday weekend is very busy. I've gotten stuck in traffic in Lincoln, half a mile from the highway, and it's taking me an hour to get to the
Oh
highway
my goodness.
because the traffic is so crazy.
Oh, so yeah, good to know that there's going to be some long traffic delays
Yes,
during
plan
the busy
accordingly.
weekends. Now, with fall coming, winter's not too far behind, and I'm always intrigued on how folks, especially in the Northeast, because you guys get some good storms rolling in during the winter. What's the winter hiking season like in and around your region?
Winter hiking is definitely not for everybody, but I personally think winter hiking is amazing. I've only been winter hiking for probably 5 years now, and it definitely takes some conditioning and some getting used to. And it can be super scary if you're not experienced and if you're not prepared. The first time I winter hiked, it was crazy. I was so underprepared. I hiked with a group that I met on Facebook, and I never hiked with them before. And I don't even know what I was thinking. I was like, this is how I hike. I hike in leggings. I wear hiking boots. This is how I'm going to be. And that's literally how I went. And I showed up and I was freezing, but no one said anything to me and no one prepared me. And we met 2 o'clock in the morning to do a sunset hike. So I felt like an idiot, but I learned a lot of hard lessons that day, what I needed and how to be prepared better. And I was lucky that I wasn't hypothermic or anything like that. So you definitely have to be very careful, very prepared, and you have to be willing to turn back if the conditions aren't right, because the mountains are always going to be there. And if you're hiking in a group and they're not comfortable, don't ever leave them behind. Turn back with them, because that's when things can go bad.
Yeah. And, from talking with other people from the Northeast, it definitely seems that the weather can be really unpredictable. And just like you said, you might start off with a clear, sunny day at the trailhead, and then by the time you reach the summit, it's a complete 180. When it comes to the winter hiking season, what are some essentials that you would recommend folks that are visiting that want to get out and hike to be sure that they're carrying?
You definitely want to pack extra layers. If you start out, you want to wear a base layer that's wicking so it brings the sweat away from you, because that is definitely the number one way that you'll become hypothermic. If you wear cotton, it soaks in your sweat and that will cling to you and make you hypothermic very quickly. You want to wear layers that won't cling to you but will keep you warm as well. You want to bring extra socks. You want to bring hand and toe warmers. If you are, well, even if you don't drink hot chocolate, maybe bring like a thermos of hot water just in case. I don't drink hot chocolate, but having a thermos of hot water is always a good idea. If you bring food, don't bring anything that will freeze. Like if you bring granola bars, they freeze, you can't necessarily eat them. I always carry a jet boil, which is an instant, you put water in it, it instantly boils in like a minute. And then I dump the water in like an instant meal or something and let it sit for 10 minutes. At least you have a hot meal. And that kind of helps give you energy and has plenty of calories to help you and stuff. Because in the winter, you're burning more calories, especially if you're breaking trail or having to climb through snow. And sometimes the snow is waist deep at times. So you're definitely burning a lot more energy. So you need to eat more calories.
One thing I didn't even realize until this year is if you're carrying a water filter, like say the Sawyer Squeeze or something like that, to keep it up against your body, because once those filters freeze, they are kind of useless. They lose their filtration.
Yeah, and if you have a Camelback with like a water hose, if you don't have it insulated or if you don't have it inside your coat against your body, that will freeze as well, and then you don't have your water source. Yeah, I've had that happen to me before. Like, oh, I have 3 liters of water on me, and then that one part that's exposed freezes, and I'm like, oh crap.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, so true. And then trying to defrost that, especially the hose part. Now, outside of hiking, Shandi, you participate in some great outdoor communities. One of them being the New Hampshire Appalachian Mountain Club. You're the chair of the programs. Can you share a little bit about the chapter that you're involved in?
Sure. The New Hampshire AMC chapter is a huge organization, or a part of a huge organization that offers many different outdoor options to participate in and ways to connect with other outdoor enthusiasts. And it's not just hiking, it could be kayaking, it could be running, it could be cycling. Those are just a few examples. My role as the program's chair is to organize, and my hope is to have monthly speakers, get-togethers, and informational panels in order to educate the public and bring people together while helping publicize those speakers, as well as create a bigger audience to get more people involved with the AMC, which would be a good thing because a lot of people I talk to are always like, oh, I would really like to get involved with the AMC. How can I do that? Or, oh, I didn't know there was a programs section. What does that entail and stuff? So trying to get our name out more would really help bring that all together.
And can you share a little bit about some of the previous speakers that you've had or some of the topics of conversation?
Well, I just became programs chair this year, so I'm still kind of in the process of it. But one big speaker that we're having is for our annual meeting in October on Saturday the 21st, and it's Philip Karsha, and a lot of people know him as Finding Philip. He's a really big prolific name in the hiking industry. He's created a lot of his own amazing just hikes and just out there things that he's just accomplished and things that other people haven't done before. Like he's done the New Hampshire 48 21 times.
Wow.
Right? He's
Wow.
done the Diaretisma, which is doing all 48 peaks in one hike 5 times.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, this guy is just amazing. So I have him sign up to be our annual speaker at our annual meeting, which I think is just going to be an incredible thing.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And for folks that are there based out of New Hampshire, what are some other ways they can get involved with the organization?
Well, if they go to the AMC website, which is amcnewhampshire.org, you can click on about and you can find membership or volunteering, and you can sign up for a membership or you can sign up to volunteer for any of the areas, or you can even reach out to a member and ask if they need help in any of their areas or whatnot, or you can just reach out at all and say, hey, I'm interested in helping with anything. Are you guys looking for any help at all? I mean, we're always looking for volunteers, always looking for help. It's a big organization, and I've only been on, I think, 5 months, and I don't even think I've met half of the people yet because it's just such a big organization. And it takes so many people in a village to just make things happen. So it would be great to have more people involved.
Yeah, we'll make sure to link the chapter's website as well on the episode show notes so people can learn a little bit more about the organization and how they can get involved. Now, Shandi, the AMC isn't the only outdoor organization or activity that you're also a part of. What are some other organizations or activities that you do that involve the outdoors?
Well, I'm kind of involved with a lot of organizations and activities. I guess that's how I Stay sane. My day job, I run a state licensed in-home daycare, and then I'm on Upper Valley Wilderness Response Team Search and Rescue. I'm on my local fire department as an emergency medical responder. I volunteer on the Upper Valley Disaster Animal Response Team. I'm part of the volunteer board for the 48 Peaks, the longest day hike for Alzheimer's. I'm a trail maintainer for the Webster Jackson Trail Cutoff. And I'm also part of a few local boards. And I also help Ben out with his flips socks and trying to get this going more. So I'm keeping myself a little bit busy.
You're part of some amazing organizations that, we've been able to have on the podcast, like Cindy from 48 Peaks.
Cindy's
And
amazing.
yeah, she is just such an inspiration. And I was really glad to be able to talk to her. And by the looks of it, it was another successful event this year, surpassed last year's numbers. And then Ben and FlipSox has been a longtime supporter since, almost the beginning of Hikes and Mites. Now, I've always wanted to ask a search and rescue staff member or volunteer or responder, what are some of the, I guess, for hikers that do get themselves in a dangerous situation, what's some advice that you would give hikers who do find themselves in a precarious situation that they might not consider, or that you've noticed as a responder that tends to happen a little bit more frequently than normal?
A lot of common rescues, believe it or not, are people that don't have a life source. So they hike up for a sunset hike, or they hike and the hike takes longer than they expect, and they come down when it's dark and they don't have a light source. They don't have a headlamp. They rely on their cell phone, which does not give off a lot of light, and they get stuck in the dark. So if you're lost, especially in the dark, you should not move any further. You call 911 and you stay there until someone can find you. That's actually a lot of the issue. A lot of the other issue is people not being prepared for the weather. So you get going, last week there were 3 rescues on Mount Washington in one night. And it was because people were not prepared for the weather. There were 60-mile-an-hour plus winds. It was raining. It was foggy. Visibility was almost zero. And people got stuck up on Mount Washington and naturally freaked out and called 911. And then, everyone had to go up there. And one group were hypothermic because they didn't have enough layers. Another person fell and could no longer continue. And that's another thing. People don't take into effect that rocks get wet. So you can't go as fast as you want to. I mean, I totally get it. There are times when I'm done and I want to get to the car, but slow and steady because I don't want to fall and break something. I always say I'm not the search and rescue person that wants to be rescued. So I try to go as slow as possible because I don't want to fall. So
Yeah, I think a lot of this, including myself, if I'm going on a day hike, I don't tend to pack my headlamp, but you just never know what's going to happen. And if you do find yourself at dusk or even after sunset, the cell phone lights, one, don't light up, like you said, the trail like they should. But then if you've been using your phone for GPS and taking pictures, your battery isn't at 100%. So using the light source can definitely drain that. And once that's gone, you don't have a light source besides just nature at that point. Now, moving on to one of my favorite questions when it comes to guests with sidekicks. You have an adorable 4-legged hiking sidekick by the name of Sayje. Can you share a little bit about Sayje and how she is on the trails? And then also, I know that she has her own 4,000 footer list. How many has she been able to cross off?
So Sayje is a pure chocolate lab, and she is 5. She was a runt of 11, so we expected her to be big because both of her parents are 100 pounds, but she's only 55 pounds. So she's a bundle of energy, loves to be outside. She loves to swim, hike, obviously, kayak. She loves to play ball, and we used to run a little bit too. So when I first started the 4,000 footers, I didn't bring her because I was really worried about how she would be, because when I first started hiking, I heard a lot of stories about dogs being rescued and whatnot. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it and see what happens. So I brought her with me and we've never stopped. So I redid some of the 4Ks so she could get them. And she's amazing on trails. She doesn't have to be leashed. She scouts. So she goes ahead and comes back and checks on me. She doesn't bother people or dogs. She doesn't bark. She listens really well. She's really got a recall. She goes potty of trails. She will find any puddle, muddy or not, to swim in. She's really good. If people say can I say hi to her? I'm like, can try, but she really wants to get to the top of the mountain and she literally will just blow right by them. She loves hiking. She knows when we're going to go hiking. I literally have to pack my backpack in secret because she will like be like, are we leaving? Are we leaving? She's great hiking. She's climbed ladders like on Six Husbands Trail. She does rock
Wow.
scrambles. She's done caves. She's hiked in the winter, any season. She's done Tuckerman's Ravine, the Presidential Traverse overnight. We did like almost 30 miles one night
Holy cow.
in 2 days. She did the Bonds Traverse. There's not been a trail that I've had to carry her or anything. So she's done all of the hiking by herself. And if there is a trail that I'm not sure about, I will either go a certain way and then she'll watch me and I'll tell her to go that way, or she'll go ahead and I'll tell her to stay and she'll stay. And if I fall, she'll actually come over and start licking me and then look at me like, what are you doing on the ground?
Too funny. And I think I caught in a few of the pictures of her, she also carries her own weight. She has her own little pack,
She
right?
does. She has her own saddlebag. So usually in the summer, she'll carry her food, her water, her leash. I have a pack-a-paw for her, which is like the backpack if she ever got hurt. I have a first aid kit for her. I have booties for her for when we're up on the rocks. I have mushers wax so her feet don't get cracked. So yeah, so in the winter I have her carry them, and then in the summer I have her carry them, and in the winter she wears a snowsuit
Right on.
and she's the mascot for the 48 Peaks. And then she has finished her 4Ks. We actually finished on Cannon last year for the flags in the 48. And then her and I went to the dinner this year together and got our awards together.
Now, when she first started off hiking, did she kind of gravitate towards the trail instantly, or was there a little bit of a learning curve?
No, she actually gravitated toward the trail. She was
Nice.
just like, oh, we're outside in the woods. I mean, she would kind of meander off a little bit, but then when she realized where I was going, she stayed with her. And there are actually times like I would be like, where's the trail? Because some of the trails aren't like very well marked. She'd just go off and I'd be like, oh, you found the trail. And then she'd just stand there and look at me like, where are you going? So sometimes it's really good to have her with me.
Yeah. Now, Shandy, I feel like it's mostly day hikers, not so much backpackers, but some hikers have a summit routine or maybe an end of the hike routine that they do occasionally or frequently. Sometimes it's a favorite snack or meal. Sometimes it's a drink or trail beverages, or even just a moment of zen. Do you have a regular routine or custom that you do when you reach your destination or maybe when you make it back out?
Well, when we reach the summit, we have to have a snack because she's done like 10 times the amount of me. So she's very hungry. Like literally, as soon as I put my bag down, she's in my backpack trying to look for something to eat. And then when we are getting to the bottom and I know we're almost there, I'll say, where's the car? Where's the car? And she will fly ahead of me to go find the car and then bark at me because she knows where the car is and she'll go find it. And then I'll open the door and she just jumps right in. She's really fun to hike with. I get so many comments from people on her, just well behaved she is. Because like some people will be like, "Oh, my dog's really friendly," as they're on a leash trying to like bite your hand off. Your dog's not that friendly, but she is just. I got really lucky with her. She's really amazing. She's so friendly, and she's just really good etiquette with other dogs and other people. Like she just does her own thing. She just ignores other people because she just wants to get top of the mountain.
And she's very photogenic. I think one of my favorite pictures I saw on your feed of her was she was wearing like ski goggles. And I think it was, the caption was like, make sure that you pack your winter essentials or something like that. But
Yes.
she had a big smile on her face. And with the ski goggles, it was awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty good about me taking her picture. Every time I try to take a picture with her, all she wants to do is lick my face.
When it comes to your own pack list, Shandy, do you pack any luxury items that maybe fall outside of the standard essentials?
I don't know if I would say luxury items. Because of being on search and rescue, I tend to overpack. A lot of people kind of pick on me about how much I overpack, but I'm like, this stuff isn't for me, it's for other people I come across. So I always overpack extra food, extra water. I carry 3 headlamps because I've come across people that need a headlamp, extra clothing because there's always people that don't have enough clothing. And I always have extra stuff for Sayje because you never know when she could get hurt. Like my first aid kit is ridiculous because you may not need it, but the one time you need something, you don't have it. So maybe my first aid kit, I guess, we call luxury because I don't know. I guess this is
And
from being on the fire department and search and rescue. Like, I just want to make sure I have it in case I ever
yeah.
need it.
So I gotta ask, and I don't know if you've had a chance to weigh it, but do you know approximately what your pack weighs for search and rescue?
Way too much. No, I haven't weighed it, but my back hurts after sometimes. So way too much.
So that's, yeah, definitely another thing people need to keep in mind, that when these individuals are going out to help you and you're in distress, they're not only packing, what backpackers pack, but then some. All the first aid, search and rescue items that they need. I can only imagine what your pack weighs.
Well, we're told to pack for 24 hours. So it's like overnight. So we have to pack a sleeping bag and extra food, like if we got stuck out
Oh boy.
overnight. So it's a lot.
Throughout all your own personal hikes and travels, Shandy, has there been any close calls on the trails? Whether it's, maybe getting lost for a little bit, an unexpected wildlife encounter, or maybe Mother Nature just threw you a curveball?
Literally every hike I've ever been on. I'm not even kidding.
Oh.
Literally every hike.
What's been the
Um,
most startling wildlife encounter that kind of caught you off
um,
guard?
Actually, hiking the Wildcats, we came down the ski slope side, and Sage actually started growling, and her hair went up, and we could see like brown just over the ridge. So we thought it was a bear, and I was like, oh my God. And it actually ended up being a mom moose with twins. And it was incredible. And we were up just high enough upwind that she couldn't smell us. And I was
Hmm.
done. Like this hike I was done with. She was amazing. She sat down after I told her to stop. Like she warned us, and then she was stopped. And we were there like
Hmm.
10 minutes taking videos and everything. And then all of a sudden they
Oh,
caught whiff
wow.
of us and took off. But it was so amazing. It was just such a thing to experience.
And those moose, especially, are one of those that I think people don't understand how big they are until they come across one or see one. And then it's like, oh, thing's massive. It's huge.
Yeah. And if you ever come across one with babies, you don't want to be in the way. I mean, we must have been probably a couple 100 feet away, but close enough that we could still hear them and stuff. But any closer, I think it would have gotten a little precarious.
Now, Shandy, for folks that are interested in maybe tackling the 48 Peaks Challenge, do you have any tips or advice for those just starting off on their list?
Yes. Do not look it up online and look at the list by elevation because you will no. That's what I did when I first started, and I did Kemsa, and my second hike was isolation. No, don't do that. Isolation for your second hike is like the dumbest thing you could ever do. Dumb. Like, don't do that. If you're gonna start out, do easy hikes like Tecumseh, Wambeck, Pierce, Jackson. Do ones that are not very long but have a good view. I stupidly looked at the elevation and was like, oh, that won't be that hard. You're right. It took me all day. I ran out of food and water. I came down in the dark. Like, it was the most miserable hike I'd ever done.
Oh boy.
And this is when I was new to doing the 4K, so I had no idea.
Now, talking about hiking goals, I know that you mentioned one goal that you're hoping to finish by the end of the year, but do you have any other hiking goals for the rest of 2023 or maybe for 2024?
Sage and I are working on the Terrifying 25 as well.
Oh, what's that one?
So this is a list in New Hampshire of someone made that are the top terrifying 25 trails that are really hard to get through, whether they have rock scrambles, ladders. Not everyone wants to do them. Like Huntington's Ravine on Washington is on this list. So they're just really, really hard trails. And we have 8 left on them, I believe. I think so, yeah. There's a couple other smaller lists, like there's the Belknaps, there's like different regions that we're working on and stuff, but those are the bigger lists. So yeah, we're hoping to finish them this year. Just get out of the way. And we were working on the winter 48. So you do the 48 peaks only in the winter season, which is like technically 3 months. So we've done, I think last year we did maybe half of them. So maybe next year we'll finish those. I don't know. I'm not like in a huge rush to finish them, but we'll see.
Yeah. Now, Shandi, that was it for the regular questions. This last little portion of the podcast is the this or that questions. I'm going to give you 2 different hiking options, and you kind of just choose the one that you personally prefer out of the 2.
Okay.
So the first one is ascending or descending.
Descending.
How about waterfalls or summits?
That's kind of hard. Probably waterfalls.
When it comes to your trail systems, especially on some of these summits, do you prefer switchbacks or straight up?
Switchbacks.
And are you team trek poles or are you freehand?
I've been trained to be freehand.
And then this one is something that I've noticed in the hiking community that's changed, especially in the last 5 years, but trail runners or hiking boots?
Hiking boots.
And then another trail system question. Do you prefer a loop trail or an out-back trail?
Loop.
And when you come across a body of water, especially in those hot summer months, do you jump in or do you stay dry?
It depends. If it looks kind of gross, I am not going in.
True.
You don't know what's in there.
Yeah. Now this next one, it's a tough one, but sunsets or sunrises?
Oh, I think sunsets.
And this one's a tough one, but maybe not. Maybe you might throw the audience for a loop, but spring wildflowers or fall colors?
Spring wildflowers.
Okay, surprising. Okay. And then the last one, and is the most divisive one. When it comes to social media and posting, do you tag a hike or do you not tag a hike?
I guess that would depend. It would depend on what I'm doing the hike for. So yes, I would tag the hike if I was doing it for an event or something. If I wasn't, then I probably would tag it.
And that was it for the this or that questions, Shandi. This is your opportunity to be able to let our audience know how they can get involved in the AMC chapter, 48 Peaks, Flip Socks. Yeah, this is your time to kind of let people know how they can get involved in and around the hiking communities in New Hampshire.
Oh, awesome. I would love to have more people involved. With AMC, you can just go to amcnewhampshire.org. And like I said before, you can go and click on About and then click on Membership or Volunteering. 48 Peaks, you can go to alts.org and then click on 48 Peaks. And then Flip Socks, you can go to flipsocks.com and you can order socks. You can check out the website.
Well, thank you so much, Shandi, for joining us on today's episode of the Hikes and Mikes podcast. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
And that brings us to the end of this episode alongside Shandi. We extend a heartfelt thanks to her for coming on the podcast. Make sure to stay connected and follow her upcoming adventures on Instagram at Shandi_does_it_all. Be sure to check out all the episode show notes to check out all the organizations and links mentioned in this episode. We have an incredible lineup of episodes planned throughout the fall, and we can't wait to share them with you. New episodes will be dropping every Monday with occasional bonus episodes on Fridays. To ensure you never miss out on those thrilling tales, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to join our vibrant community on Instagram at Hikes and Mikes. We'll be sharing episode visuals, my own personal hiking content, and so much more. Let's stay connected and continue to inspire each other on this remarkable journey. As we bid farewell, remember to tread those happy trails, embrace the great outdoors, and keep the spirit of adventure alive. Until next time, my fellow explorers, happy hiking. This episode's music was created by Ketsa. Follow him on Instagram at Ketsa Music. This episode is brought to you by Flip Socks. Whether you're on the trail, on the job, or in the yard, Flip Socks will keep Mother Nature out of your boots with their innovative nylon sleeve. You no longer need to worry about any annoying debris getting trapped in your boots during your hikes. Simply flip down the nylon sleeve over any boot to prevent Mother Nature from finding its way inside, keeping your feet comfortable all day long. To get your first pair, visit flipsockswithaz.com and enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And for listeners who use the promo code at checkout, I'll be donating 100% of the Season 2 promo code proceeds to Big City Mountaineers, who provide transformative experiences through connections to nature that strengthen life skills and build community for youth and disinvested communities across the nation. So if you're tired of bits and pieces of the trail finding its way into your hiking boots, pick up a pair of Flip Socks today with the promo code HikesMikes10 to get 10% off. For website and promo code, see the episode description.